Leo, welcome to your September 2017 tarot reading. Hope you're having a good start to the month. Okay, so there are quite a bit of cards in reverse this month. I'm feeling a strong focus around money and material things. I'm feeling frustration as well as impatience around money. So I think some of you guys have been waiting on something for a long time, and you're becoming really impatient with it. And it's like, I sort of get this feeling like everything around you has become a blur because you're trying so hard to you're really waiting on something, and that is like making you feel really anxious, really impatient. You feel like you're juggling a lot of things and you're kind of rushing through things because you're just waiting for this one thing. So I'm getting that for some of you guys, and I'm getting the fact that it's kind of knocked you out of your balance. Like, I'm feeling a little bit like there's a lot of like emotional imbalance going on as a result of this impatience that you're experiencing. And most likely it's something to do with either finances or something of the material realm, maybe a job offer. And, you know, you've been waiting for it. And, you know, it seems like, I feel like for some of you, I'm getting this message that some of you are focusing on this pentacle situation because you've recently had some kind of a heartbreak. A lot of you guys probably either had some kind of a relationship hardship or heartbreak, or some kind of a project that did not take off, and you were left feeling just kind of like this one missing piece can't seem to come into your life. And so you're so anxiously waiting for this missing piece. And you've been kind of distracted. And I'm sensing some people are irritated with you or irritated by you. You know, I feel like there might be some issues in the family or in the relationships where like people are becoming a little bit, people like things are being pushed to this side. So like relationships are being pushed to the side because you're just not yourself. And, you know, you're so focused on something and it's taking its time to come to you, and it's going to come to you. But for some reason, I'm getting this sense that once it comes, it might not be exactly what you expected it to be. And you may actually have to take matters into your own hands and make something work on your own. Like, that's kind of the message I'm getting, is that there may have been somebody involved in either a project or a work situation, or, you know, maybe even a relationship that you've been waiting on, and it's kind of like it's been dependent on them, and you're kind of like freaking out, but your hands feel tied. It feels like you can't do anything because you're just waiting on this one person or this one thing that they're supposed to deliver, and they're not doing it, and you're just kind of like spinning in circles, not really knowing what to do. And I feel like what the cards are telling me is that even though this might come, it might take much longer, or like when it does come, it just feels like you realize, no, this actually isn't exactly what I wanted. This isn't exactly the best version of what I thought this was going to be. And that kind of causes you to take things into your own hands. And I feel like that is what's going to happen. You are going to take matters into your own hands. There's a sense of leadership that will happen. You're going to become empowered. And but at the same time, you know, you're going to want to be a little bit careful, because I feel like there are two people involved in this, which are not exactly, okay, this is really specific. This might not apply to everybody, but I'm just going to say it anyway because it feels like it's coming to me. I feel like there is an authority figure, somebody in power, and I feel like there are people in your environment who are really tied to this figure of authority, but they're two-faced. So they'll like tell you one thing, but then they'll act completely different with this authority figure or this person in power, and you are just like, I don't really know what to do about this. Like, I don't really know how we can make this work with you guys not being authentic with me. And it feels like there are a few people you should be careful around because they're not really trustworthy. I don't know. Or it's not even that they're not trustworthy. It just seems like they are two-faced. Like, that's what I'm getting. And they're not being entirely honest with you. And you really just have to, it just feels like for some of you, this might even be that you end up leaving this situation, like leaving this job, leaving this project, leaving this relationship dynamic, and doing something that involves you really taking matters in your own hands and starting from scratch because you are just so sick of this drama, like these sneaky people. Like, I don't know, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting like sneaky people who don't have the guts to say what they really mean and what they really feel, because I guess there's just like, I don't know, there's some kind of a sense of desperation from these people or from this person. It just feels like they it's like they absolutely are dependent on someone's approval, and they're just so afraid of like being thrown out, and they just go with whatever the person is saying and doing. And you're starting to like, you're just like, I can't really put up with this anymore. And you might come to a point where you end up leaving the situation because you don't really want to go through with it anymore. And then we've got a lot of cards in reverse. So there's some stagnation here, and it kind of feels like there's definitely a lot of influence coming from, okay, there's somebody in your environment who you view as, you kind of look up to this person. I feel like a lot of you look up to this person, and it just feels like they're kind of like, with their words and their intellect, it's like they're playing off as though they're smart, and they're using this kind of good rhetoric or this like intellectual talk. I feel like they're getting like, they have this attitude like, I know better than you, like no matter what the situation is, like I know better than you, I know better than you. And they're holding you in stagnation because for some reason they have an influence on whether or not you're going to take this step, like this step of like taking matters into your own hands. For some reason, it's like they're like, every time you get inspired, they're like discouraging you. And I don't necessarily know if they're like doing that intentionally, or if they're just, it might just be that, you know, they have these beliefs that you don't share with them, but they're really strongly projecting them onto you, and they're causing you to be stagnant. Like, every time you hear their words, like every time you hear them talk about this or make comments about your goals or anything like that, you just feel so stagnant. And it feels like at the root of this, you know, they might be afraid of your success, and they might be afraid of you, I guess, becoming a step higher up. And I don't know why that is, and it's almost like those fears are also being projected onto you because you are also afraid that you're gonna take that step and you're gonna succeed. It's kind of like your hopes and fears are the Ten of Pentacles. So it's almost like you want that Ten of Pentacles, you want that sense of completion, that last pentacle that you've been waiting for so long. And for some reason, it may be that this person who's in your environment is putting they're kind of slowing you down and making you feel like the only way you can get to that goal is by waiting on somebody and waiting on something and being involved in like poor work environments. Like I'm sensing that a lot of you have a toxic work environment. That's coming out really strongly. And I feel like what the cards are trying to say, there's definitely a warning here. And the warning is that if you continue only listening to this person, allowing them to emotionally affect you, allowing like work drama to affect you, making you feel like you have to be a slave to somebody, you could be waiting forever on this, and it just might not ever come. You might also always be in this stagnation. And it really seems like in order for luck to I don't really like the word luck, but in order for you to work with the energy that you're being provided with right now, because I feel like there is this energy, there is that spark, there is that inspiration, but in order for things to kind of the world to work with you, you have to start taking that steering wheel and kind of driving your goals yourself, because it feels like whatever environment you're in right now, it's kind of like you've got so many ideas, but they're just not really coming off the ground because there's this negative energy and because there's such a strong tie to authority. It's like you're suffocating. And I think maybe some of you, for some of you, it's causing you a lot of anxiety and impatience. And really, you just need to come back to your roots. I feel like definitely some of you need to or would find benefit in meditating or just being on your own and not, just kind of letting some of this stuff go, because I feel like you're getting really worked up about it. And I feel like if you do choose to take that action where you're like, okay, I know what this person is telling me is affecting me, and I know I can't just, snap my fingers and not care anymore about what they're going to say and what their influence is, but I'm going to fake it until I make it. So that might be your challenge, Leo, is basically faking it until you make it. So act like that boss when you don't feel like that boss. And eventually you will actually become that boss, because it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be a comfortable position. It's going to be a bold thing you have to do, but it feels like you have to do it. So that's my advice for today. I feel like that's all the messages. So best of luck to you, Leos, and I will speak to you next month. Thanks. Bye.